It's good though, these kind of chats, I think.
It's good because this is a range of questions, man.
Yeah. Bunch of them.
Like even that last one. Jesus.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfiltered Podcast, where we take the I out of unfiltered and put the emphasis directly on you. This is the one platform where we get to take down our filters and have raw, authentic and vulnerable conversations in regards to the challenges that we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations that I have on the show to be normalized, why don't you help me help you to get more guests on and to have those difficult conversations in regards to the challenges we're all facing? I have to know what it is that you specifically want us to speak about. So if it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's been a hit for you, if it's hit home, why don't you leave a thumbs up and leave a cheeky review in regards to what specifically resonates with you. Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode.
Technically, like that perspective, Asian women.
Yeah.
It's tricky for us.
Oh,
dude.
bro, no, bro, don't get me wrong. If my sister ever turned around and said to me, should I stay or should I leave? My first thing I'm going to say to her straight up, what's going to make you happy?
But I'm telling her to leave because she's asking the question. That's enough.
No, but exactly, yeah. But I'm different. I'll be like, what's going to make you happy? With work? Do you want to stay in that work environment or do you want to leave? But what's going to really give you some satisfaction in life right now? That's more important. But don't forget, we have grown up in a society and an environment where we sacrifice everything for everyone else.
Yeah.
So grandparents came to this country or went to America or Canada or wherever you're listening to this, wherever your grandparents went. They did that. They took a sacrifice. They worked hard. They grinded. They put everyone else first. And then when your parents came along, they did the same thing. And now you're in an environment where the world has changed. You don't have to keep putting everyone else first.
True, but what playing on that, what you could do is you could give it upwards.
Exactly.
But then that takes away from think about yourself, primarily A.
What do you mean by put it up first?
Put it upwards. So what they ask for you to do, not like they've sacrificed a lot, but you can meet them halfway then.
Yeah.
You could sacrifice upwards. If they ask you to do something, you could sacrifice. They say, look, I want you to look at this girl. Look at this girl for me.
Yeah, okay, cool. You know what?
Look at that family. I really like that family.
Yeah.
It'll make me so proud that we'd have a really good bond with that family.
Fine.
Could you consider that?
Okay, cool. So throwing that at me right now,
Yeah.
you're my dad, I'd be like, yeah, listen, firstly, he would never say that. But if I know my dad's like, yeah, he like that. If my dad ever said that to me, I would have been like, all right, Pops, why do you really want me to explore that right now? Well, what is it you really want from that?
I want our family bonds to be closer.
Fine. So
They helped me so much when I came here.
Of course it did. But respectfully,
They're good family.
I don't find her attractive. She don't find me attractive. So what kind of relationship do you want for your son to have right now and your daughter-in-law to have right now? Respectfully, what kind of relationship do you want to see your grandchild that will come on the back end of this to live with? Like to see a mum and dad who don't get along, who don't have any quality time, don't showcase love in the way you really want it to see it. I know what you want. You want that connection. You know what? Let's try and create that connection without me having to marry this girl and vice versa. But that's a conversation.
I agree. It is a conversation. It's not a demand place either.
It's not. All right. Let's go jump into the next one.
What's your thoughts on dating multiple people?
Do it.
What do you mean do it?
Do it. Date as many people.
Just for the sake of it?
Depends on your intentions. And even that, I don't think that really matters.
I mean, okay. Yeah, you're on these apps, right? If you're, well, not you personally, but we've all been there.
Yeah.
Let's say we were on these apps.
Yeah.
And let's say you go on, all right, you've been on one date, doesn't work out. You go on another date, doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Third person you actually go with,
Yeah.
it's starting to work out. It's looking good.
Cool.
I've gone for a second date with her now, yeah?
Yeah.
What, I should still be looking around? Why can't I just put my energy?
The question was asked was, what are your thoughts on dating multiple people? Do it, if that's what you want to do. There's this negative connotation around why you shouldn't do it.
I see. Okay.
Right? So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying, what are your intentions? So if you ask me the question right now, Pri, what are your intentions right now? We're on a date. You're asking me what your intentions are.
Yeah.
I'm looking for my last girlfriend. I'm looking to settle down with someone, but I'm very selective in that process because I don't really want to just be with anyone. I want someone who understands my vibe, understands my energy, understands that I'm still working on myself and I'm doing bits and bobs behind the scenes. I want someone who's not afraid to be with someone who's not the standard person right now working a 9 to 5. I work my own hours. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I podcast. I work with women. Is that going to be a problem for you? So I want someone to really understand that.
Yeah.
Now, my intentions are that, right? Now, one girl could turn up. Great. Fantastic. What happens if I'm like, this is good, but in my head I'm thinking,
It's not good enough.
What do I do then? Should I turn down someone who I feel naturally looks like, oh, wow, damn. And if I get to know her, oh, shit, she's just like her too. Should I turn this one down because this is good? Is that what you're telling me? What if there are 5 now? 5 girls, right? A, B, C, D, and E, yeah? A, I match first in that order. B,
Yeah.
They all bring something different. Am I wrong right now for saying I need to shut down all of these other girls because A came first? What if what I'm really looking for is what E brings to the table?
But then what you're doing is you're creating so many permutations because there's 2 people on this.
Of course.
Well, actually, there's 5 others now.
This is where you got to be honest and explain what you're doing right now. So if I said to you, look, listen, you might not like this, and if you don't like it, we're clearly very different people. Respectfully, I can't put all my eggs in one basket on the offset. Why? Because the kind of person I am, when I'm in, I'm all in. And respectfully right now, I want to make sure that you are the right one. And what that might mean is you understanding my journey right now. My journey consists of trying to find someone who's going to understand me on all fronts. And vice versa, allows me to understand them. If I know you're not willing to work on yourself, if I know you're kind of stuck up, if I know you pretty much want me to take the lead on everything, like you might not be my type. And then what happens then? What are you smiling for, fam?
I'm just saying, yeah.
But you see what I mean? You might
like
not be my type. If you want all of this stuff, if you want me to just do everything and you just be a stay-at-home mum, that's your envision. That's not me. But I'm not going to find that out initially.
This is my thing. When would you breach these kind of topics? Is it the first date? Because I mean, have you got the energy for all these 5 dates then?
I think you can, like, you're never going to get your cup of tea because no one's really perfect out there. Someone might take your attention and be stupidly hot. Like, wow, jaw-dropping. And at the same time, on the back end of that, be an absolute dick because they have no personality.
Yeah.
They literally are very, 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 very quiet. Or they talk so much and it's like, shut up kind of thing, right? So there's everyone's going to have their own personality and attraction. I think when you're speaking to someone who you have a great vibe and a great connection with, yes, you can shut those other doors if you feel like you can see something here. But if you've got questions, you're going to want them answered. So do I think it's wrong for you to say no to everyone else and try and answer those questions? No, I think you can do that. But I also don't think it's wrong either for you to say, yeah, cool. Oh, yeah. And understand. Because it might be a mix of everyone that you kind of want. But then you might realize, hang on a minute, it's really none of them.
Well, which one do you value the most? What
exactly.
trait?
So I don't think it's wrong to date multiple people as long as you're very honest with it. Because for all you know, the person you're speaking to could be chatting to someone else as well. They might not be very honest with you. They might be scared to tell you this.
So do you think it's better to be straight up honest on the first date?
I'm very honest, open and vulnerable. I tell all my clients to do it too. Be open, honest and vulnerable. Get a real feel. Because if someone says to you on the first date, they want to have sex on the first date or they're looking for fun, that might not be your bag. And you're better for understanding that earlier on. They might say to you, look, I'm looking to get married within a year.
You mean after you finish the date then? Fine.
Oh, whenever. But they might generally want to throw that information out there from the offset because it generally paints the picture of what they're looking for. So when I say what I'm looking for, people might say, Pri, you seem like you're a bit of a fuckboy, or Pri, you seem like you don't really know what you want. No, I do know what I want. Unfortunately, though, what's been served up necessarily hasn't been exactly what I've been after. Now, I'm willing to understand it, but at the same time, I'm not just going to say I'm all in with that. If I feel,
No, that's logical. I mean, I get it.
And I think it's fair to yourself because you don't want to be in a relationship where if you are looking for a long-term thing, 5 years down the line, you've got engaged, you planned a marriage, or you have got married, then you're looking at getting divorced. What happens then? Just because you weren't honest off the cuff to say, that irritates me, that bothers me, and you let it continue and continue and continue where you hate each other now. What was the fucking point?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's just one of those things where I feel like the more dates, the more people you meet, for instance, the more you think the grass is greener, but also the less energy you're willing to put into one person.
Of course. I remember from a video, Jay Shetty said that if you put, let's look at work, for instance, and everything else in life, you keep putting 10% into everything, you're only going to get 10% of that result. So if I'm speaking to 5 girls, for instance, it's 20% each girl is going to get of me. But respectfully, while I agree with what Jay says, I disagree, because if someone catches my attention in that, they may gravitate more energy than the other.
Yeah.
If someone chats to me on the same level I chat to them, i.e. they're willing to pick up the phone and talk to me when they're in the car, or if they're just a text, they just love texting, they're a pen pal. The pen pal is probably going to get a lot of airtime eventually, because that's not me.
Well, you're going to match the energy anyway.
But what happens in my scenario right now where I match someone who's amazing but doesn't like to gym, not into the fitness space, but then I match someone who is my energy and also likes to gym? Am I not going to want to get to know that more? Because she might want to do more things that I like doing. What if I meet a Man United fan? Even better. Like,
if you met a City fan?
Not a problem. Or a Liverpool fan. Don't care. I'm not.
You're open.
But it makes a big difference, sir.
That's cool.
It makes a massive difference, and I feel like we are so closed off to the idea because it looks bad. I don't think it looks bad if you're putting yourself first in the scenario. You're generally saying right now, it's good, but I'm not jumping out of my seat. And I think that's the difference. If you match someone and you get to know them and you are jumping out of your seat, and that's all you can think of, then obviously you've made your decision very clear. You don't need to speak to anyone else.
It's true, yeah.
But put yourself in that position first versus just saying, yeah, that's okay, I'll run with it. Or let me just carry on because everyone else is getting married. Let me just run with it. Why? Why waste someone's time? And now it makes sense.
Yeah. Right, let's get to the next one. Okay, so someone asked, how do you detach yourself from people you're dating and even in your relationships?
How have I done it personally? Might be a better answer.
So I'm reading this question odd.
Yeah. I think when I got that sent across, it was in the context of I get attached too quickly and then I'm all in.
Okay.
How do I detach myself moving forward? I think they're looking at it from a dating perspective, but then also when they've been in relationships, it's very difficult to like weave out. Attachment, in my personal opinion, the reason why people get attached into dating or a certain person and then get themselves attached into a relationship, because they feel a lack of self-love initially. So when I talk about this desire to be wanted,
yeah,
when they initially get it, they use that to fill their cup. And so because their cup's now been filled, they never want that to be empty. So they're going to keep going back to the person that does it, right? How do you detach yourself from that so you don't require it from someone and you can say, no, leave me alone, or no, I don't want to see you again, is by filling your own cup.
Yeah.
Self-love. So how have I personally learned this myself was I realized from breakups, and I realized from the early stages of using dating apps, that no one's going to hold any loyalty. People might, but there's a good chance someone doesn't. Someone might not be interested in you. There's also a case of you also might not be someone's cup of tea, and remove the expectation that someone's going to stay there. So once I started realizing this, it allowed me to get to a place where, truth is right now, we can get married.
Not me and you.
No. We could get married right now.
Yeah.
Respectfully. But nothing's stopping you from saying, I want a divorce in 10 years' time or 20 years' time. Nothing's stopping you from falling out of love with me.
Yeah.
Nothing is stopping you from getting sexually aroused by someone else. I can't control that. I can't control you. I can control how I feel. And what I'm doing right now is putting the expectation that you're going to be there happily ever after. I'm removing that, because the truth is, what happens if you pass away soon? What if we can't have kids? Let's remove all of these expectations. What happens from what's deemed as a successful relationship? In that process, you remove that attachment. Does that kind of make sense?
I get it, but are you saying to be prepared for it almost?
Not prepared for it, just don't.
It's quite cynical otherwise, isn't it?
I know, because I spoke about it on a pod that's still to be released, and this might come up before it or after it. I'm not saying you got to be prepared for it. I'm just saying don't look at the bigger picture and everything versus coming in with your blinkers and thinking happily ever after. Because the truth is, something might happen, and that is generally life, right? We all sit and cry and get upset when someone gets taken away from us, and we all get upset when someone leaves us. Heartbreak. You've been through it. I've been through it. It sucks.
I mean, it happens even in the school playground. Your best friend's no longer your best friend sometimes.
Exactly. But the truth is, it wasn't anything that you possibly did, albeit you'll probably beat yourself up for it. They may not want to be with you anymore. They might find someone else. They're moving away. Life is life. Why are we putting ourselves in a position right now where we're thinking it's always going to be happily ever after? We might not be boys.
It's true.
If I got really deep with this right now, I could do everything else. But respectfully, we might not be boys in 10 years' time. That's could be part of the parcel. I hope it doesn't get that way. Respectfully, I'd have to appreciate where your life may take you.
You could be in another country.
Exactly.
No time for each other.
Exactly. Then what happens?
Different priorities. I get that. But like, surely, I don't know, when you envisage your partner, these aren't things you want to be thinking about.
It's not thinking about that. It's more of a case of, it's just knowing the fact that like things might happen and that might not, and they are out of your control and you can't do anything about it. So stop hoping and wishing that it all goes into play. And when they don't, you start like hating the world and getting upset and thinking, fuck, why me? Why me? You know what? It might not even be your fault. If you carried on being the best version of yourself in all of this and they still want it out, that's not on you. And that's how I detach myself from this. So I could be chatting to someone right now in a dating capacity and she says to me, I can't lie, I've been speaking to someone else as well, and they're my type on paper. Go on then. Like,
not even going to put up a fight.
For what? If that's what you really want, fine. I know what I bring to the table and that's that. But if what you're looking for aesthetically is better there, all right. I don't want to be second best, okay? Someone will look at me and be like, oh my God, amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll have to run it with that. Do you know what I mean? In a marriage though, that could happen. Do you know how many people are stuck in marriages right now? They don't want to be with that person. Do you know people cheat in marriages?
Well, yeah, people change in marriages.
No, cheat.
Yeah, but I mean, like, people change completely, so it's a different person. You don't even recognize that person.
And then it's a case of like, I didn't sign up for this. No, you signed up for a happily ever after. You didn't come with the mindset that this could possibly happen. That's not on you, but it could happen. It's the truth behind it. What are you meant to do in that scenario? What are you meant to do? And when you get attached, you get so hurt. Detach yourself. Know that there's a possibility. It could be a 1% chance. There's a possibility. That's not on you. You could sign up to be with someone and turns out that person becomes an alcoholic. That's not on you. What are you meant to do? If you detach yourself from that, you know there's a way out. If you don't want to be with that person, you can also walk away.
Yeah, I guess it's important to know that you can always walk away.
And I feel
like, decision.
Because we have those expectations, it creates a problem. And I feel like through my experience in life right now, look, I'm 30 years old, turning 31 soon. Truthfully, should I have been in a relationship? In some world, maybe I should have. Right now, maybe it's best I'm not in one. Maybe it's good right now. I'm able to explore these certain things. And maybe I want to be with someone who generally understands it fully and wants to do the things I want to do. Hence why the right person hasn't possibly turned up. Or maybe they have turned up and I'm still getting to know them. It's all part of the process. But I'm not attaching myself to the thought process of, oh my God, amazing. I might feel it, but I'm not allowing myself to be like, thank fuck, I'm never letting go of it. Because the truth is, I might have to if they want out. I might have to let go in a situation where, let's say hypothetically, years earlier down the line into our marriage, she passes away. And if I keep holding on to that, I may never get to explore another type of happiness with someone else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's true.
I don't mean to wish bad things, but I'm just looking at it from my experience.
It's a realistic point of view.
Yeah, I look at it from grief and in life, like your situation. Bro, no one envisions these things happening, but they do. And then what are you meant to do? we beat ourselves up, we get pissed off, and it's like, fuck. No, remove that, man. Things can get taken away from us just like that. And that's not on our fault. We could be the ones, not our fault. Remove that attachment. At least that way you're not getting hurt in any of this process. You're essentially quite equipped for anything that could possibly happen. I think that's a more smarter way of going about things. That doesn't mean you can't love. That doesn't mean you can't get too excited and gassed and feel amazing. But it's also checking yourself back into realizing that you also might want out one day. That might encourage me to want to like keep up and do more. Or at the same time, it might encourage me to say, yo, if that's really like you, damn, you never were really into me to begin with. Interesting. All right, go bye. I don't know. It doesn't land well for a lot of people. They don't like it, but I just feel like
I mean, I think it's just a very realistic way of viewing things.
Yeah.
But it's hard to put across because if you were to speak to your partner on that, if you had a partner, for instance, like, I don't know, maybe 5 years later, and you spoke and you said it like that, I can imagine what they would be hearing. Not what you're saying, just what they're hearing.
That's why you got to communicate in a way though, right? So if I told my partner in 5 years' time, look, listen, I love you. I do want to spend the rest of my life with you. I'm not attached though. She might think, what the fuck? And I'll be like, no, don't listen to that word as it being like, I want out. I'm just very open to the concept that you might want out. I want to be with you for the rest of my life, but I can read you my vows and tell you this. And I know what I stand for. I know what I'm about. And I'll be very honest with you. If I fall out of love with you, I'll tell you. But respectfully, that's not me. But who's just like me? Let's be honest right now. Who's really like me? Who's really like you? I know you wear your heart on your sleeve. Are girls that you're possibly speaking to really like you? Or are you falling into the trap right now and giving someone a lot more than you should be? If you look at your past and your history, maybe you think, oh, fuck, maybe I did. Because I'm a great guy. I don't ask for much. But respectfully, it might be too much for someone. If you attach yourself, and it creates a big, big problem. And I fill up my own cup of self-love. I don't require it from other people. Hence why I can't get attached to them.
Yeah, I guess after listening to you, I'd say just be in a position where every day you're still making the choice.
Yeah.
You're not forced.
Exactly.
But every day you wake up, I choose to be with you. Not because I'm attached to you, I'm choosing.
Yeah, I want to be with you right now.
Yeah.
But
open to the fact that that's a today's choice.
Yeah. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. But I also know there's no such thing as immortality. I also know that people fall out of love. I also know you work in an environment where guys might be chatting to you. You might like that attention too much. I also know that, for instance, you want kids and our situation might not allow us to have kids. Like, I know, like, these things could create conflicts. What are you meant to do? Oh, please don't ever leave. You know what? If you want to, you're gonna, right? If you feel that way, you're gonna want to just walk. All right, and I can't do anything about it. Yeah. I'm not using what you bring to the table to fill up my cup. My cup's already full. Or if it's not full, I don't allow you to fill mine up. I fill mine own up myself.
Yeah.
That make sense?
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers that.
So someone asked, you mentioned on recent episodes that you've started therapy.
Yes.
And I think I know the answer to this one, but would you recommend it?
Two answers. Yes and no.
Okay.
I started therapy. I use BetterHelp. If you're listening, a little plug.
No, other ones are available.
Yeah, there are other ones available. BetterHelp is very good. They match you up with a therapist, and I've been very, very fortunate with my therapist I've been matched up with. The conversations I've been able to have been very, very, very helpful for me. The reason I signed up to therapy was to explore what it could be like. So when people come up to me, people ask, are you a therapist or are you a coach? And I say, I'm a coach. I'm not qualified to call myself a therapist. But I wanted to get a feel for what therapy could be like. So if I have someone who wants to work with me and I realize they actually want therapy, they don't need coaching right now. I can politely say, no, I think you need to go speak to this person who I know is a therapist, or I think you need to go sign up to BetterHelp. It's not the right time for you to be coached by me right now because what I'm going to bring to the table isn't right for you. We understand that. You've made it very clear you want someone you can talk to, not someone who's going to guide you to move forward. So I did want someone to speak to, and I've got like random shit that goes on in life, but I just wanted to get a feel for it. And I can't like echo how fucking helpful it's been for me personally. I've been able to talk about insecurities I've got. I've been able to talk about challenges I've had with ex-relationships, and how I see my business forming. I've been able to talk about personal relationships with family and stuff. So fucking useful and helpful. And I think I'm quite lucky with my therapist because I can ask for permission to be like, can you not just hold space? Could you possibly ask me questions today that feels a bit like coaching where I'm getting a bit of guidance instead? Can you not officially assign me some homework, but give me some things to do? And
I kind of tailored it to you.
Yeah. And that's been very, very helpful. So I'm not sure if it works in all therapy scenarios, but I would recommend it.
I'm sure if people had that relationship back with their therapist, because you got to keep both people accountable, just as your clients keep a coach accountable, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure if they mention something like that, they will tailor and program it just that way.
Therapy is very good in having, like, I don't know what I'm going to speak about next week. I have a rough idea what I could speak about, but I don't know if something else comes up on the weekend. It might be a good conversation to have, but it's nice knowing I've got an allocated time within my week to go speak to someone about things in the short term, things in the long term, things that I'm not even sure are bothering me. And he might ask me something. He might be like, so talk about this. What's going on here? You mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Right. And it just allows me just to have someone listen and have a voice. And also, he's very different. So he might point me in different directions. But normally therapy is just meant to be just to listen. Tell me more. Explain. And I could just talk and be like, so what does that say about this? And all of a sudden, I've figured something out. And it's been helpful on that front. So I do recommend it. I don't recommend it from a perspective where, because I've had people say therapy's been shit and they don't like it. It's done nothing for them, because I felt what they possibly required in that moment is a form of action.
Yeah.
So like my therapist doesn't give me homework or hasn't laid out a blueprint for me to, they might want coaching. And that might be an avenue you need to explore. So I think it's important if you're in a situation right now where if you're going through something particular, let's say for instance, heartbreak, what is it you want from right now? Do you want to just talk about your heartbreak and get your anger off your chest? Because therapy might be great for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want someone to explore that, it could be a good option. If you want to get over it and be able to date and not bring that into your thing, you might want to get a dating coach or a relationship coach. You might realize right now you're heartbroken, but if you realize you're bringing that into the relationship, you need to find a way of navigating so you don't do that. Let's talk about it. So what I would do in that scenario would be like, all right, you're heartbroken. What happened? So it'd be like therapy, but not, because the end of it is break it down for me, what's happened, and let's help you understand why you're bringing that. Let's go a bit deeper. Where does it come from? Okay, cool. Talk to me about that dating scenario. Why are you getting worked up? And help them realize it in that scenario. Okay, cool. The next time you go out, I want you to explain that. Explain it to him about your insecurities. Explain how you've been hurt. Because the therapist is not going to tell you to do that.
I guess you're offering one thing after.
A bit of guidance and a push. If he keeps doing that and it's not your cup of tea, why are you still with him? Have you got a number of guys that are doing that right now? Yeah, unfollow them all. Let's bring in some new people. And that's a different way of looking at it. So, but yeah.
What have been your personal wins you've taken away from coaching your clients?
Ooh.
Reflection time.
Yeah, personal wins. I think when I first started, I think my first client said to me, she was a university student and had a number of like panic attacks. I used to have a lot of anxiety. And like I remember when I first signed this individual, I spoke to my supervisors. I was like, I don't know if I could work with them. They're like, no, if they want coaching, of course you can. And
why didn't you feel like you could at that time?
I feel like you need maybe to be a bit more specialized. Maybe you need to be a therapist or something like that. So I just wanted to support and help. And it was great. It was amazing because we got quite deep with a lot of personal stuff. But I remember I got a notification from them once they'd done their exams, how they were able to navigate that situation. They understood where the stress was coming, when it came, and they were able to put themselves in a scenario where they could essentially coach themselves out of being stressed.
Mm-hmm.
And that came from our sessions. So that was a nice personal win because it's like, regardless of whether I work with this person or not, they know now the tools that they already have to apply when they feel in a stressful environment. I remember I helped one person very early on, talk to me around from a business perspective, and he wanted to generate income. And we looked at ways he could do it, it's fine. But we realized the way he turned up to work, he wasn't himself. And the way he turned up to our coaching calls, he dressed very differently. So we spoke about like, how could you bring that version of you into work? And we talked about it. He's a golfer. And he's a bit of a cocky bastard when he plays golf because he's really good. And something about just being in this attire made him feel comfortable, relaxed, with a cheeky little grin. And then he had an interview for somewhere else and he got the job. And they said, we loved your style. We loved the way you was just so chilled. And I was like, brother, you would have gone in a suit and tie.
Yeah.
The fact you went in a golf t-shirt with a golf cardigan, some golf trousers on, you felt chilled, relaxed. They didn't judge you for it. So you already have taken this perception of how you should dress out of the equation. You've been yourself and someone said yes. So that's the first little tick. After that, he then brought that energy into like getting business in, and he managed to sign, I think, a client for like 5 figures for someone who's doing it on the side as well. I was like, bro, and I said, fucking, I've been robbed from my coaching classes. And he said, yeah, it's broad daylight robbery when you think about it. But there's other people who have been like, just with a push in that direction, been able to get the job that they really wanted and really leave somewhere they hated. I've helped people navigate relationships, and it's difficult because I think a lot of people I've worked with would love to be in a relationship, and I think the biggest challenge they have is being in a better relationship with themselves, but they will never say that to begin with. And what that requires is working on the shit that stops you from being yourself, i.e. stops you from being a better person when you're dating.
You've just asked like if I was on the receiving end, you've just given me another task on top of the task that I thought I had.
Yeah. So you want to be in a relationship. I can't guarantee that because I don't know what the other party's going to say. But what I can do right now is help you understand why you feel a certain way, where that comes from. And if that means mending a relationship with your dad or your mum or a sibling or an aunt or an uncle or making peace with that, how much of a benefit is that going to be moving forward for you? I love it when someone gets very emotional with me. I love it when they start crying and opening up. Just because the realization they don't realize is I'm a stranger. You've just opened up to me about your life and a particular chapter which is draining the shit out of you. And all this weight on your shoulder, you just let it go and you've opened up to me. Amazing.
That's true.
The great thing about this right now, which you won't realize, is that you've done it with me. There's no reason why you can't do it with your
exactly.
It's going to happen. But the fact that I've made it comfortable for you right now, I'm going to keep making it comfortable, and I want you to keep speaking to me about this stuff. Reach out to me during the week, reach out to me in between our sessions, voice note me about your wins. But when you realize how easy it is to do it with me, I'm going to show you how easy it is to just try that with your partner or try that with your mum or your dad.
You'll probably just naturally drip over.
And all of a sudden, I've got you from doing something you never used to do to doing something so much more different. So that's a nice personal win.
What challenges do you personally face with doing coaching full time?
I think I spoke about it with someone on my podcast, Aman Sana. We talked about I back myself as a coach. It's just interesting trying to explain what you do to a wider community. And it's something I'm still working on. I think I've understood a craft and a way of how to explain it without feeling judged. But I think I also still need to remove the judgment element where I have to explain myself. Does that make sense? So I have to say, oh, I'm making this much. Or I have to say it in a way where it's understandable versus actually owning the fact that I help these people. And that's what I do. And I love it.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that happens a lot.
It does. It's like if I go around...
If you spoke to my dad right now,
he'd be like...
Natural instinct would be like, what? What do you do? That? How much you making?
Yeah.
Simple questions,
bro,
but they will ask.
My jacket yesterday. He's going to be very, very opinionated.
Exactly.
Not in a rude, negative way. He's just not accustomed to it.
No, but it's also the way he actually can chat to you. Because if he doesn't understand what you're doing anyway, these things he understands at least. So he's touching on those points.
But if I deeped it with your dad and I said, this is going very off topic, but if I said, you know, like what happened a couple of years ago, he was like, yeah. And I said, what if I told you right now I'm helping people who are going through something quite similar navigate their way of finding themselves and being a little bit more happy and not beating themselves up and stuff like that? He would understand it. He might be like, okay, I get it. And for me, the biggest challenge I have is trying to explain that to people.
Yeah.
So one thing I've been doing on the golf course recently, when someone asks me, what do you do? I say, look, and they normally, Indian uncles, which is quite fun. I say, uncle, like, have you got any kids right now? Any of them married? And you'll get the yes or no. I'll be like, have you got any nephews and nieces? Yes or no? I'll be like, okay, cool. So what I do right now is I work with women within our community, and I'm helping them overcome their insecurities and their self-doubts that get thrown onto them by like parents and expectations, whether it's their job they're doing, their relationship status, if they're not happy with the way they look, etc. Because you know, and I know that you will know someone who's going through like a difficult time right now, and they might not show it. And you know, and I know, we don't talk about that stuff so openly. So what I do is I hold a space for them, and we call it coaching, but I hold a space for them to help them overcome that. So if your daughter right now, hypothetically, is going through something, I'm the kind of person she can come and work with for a set period of time to be able to be open and honest with you, tell you how she's really feeling, and be able to still live her life. Be able to wear it like that lands. They're like, oh, you know, it's so important.
That is landing because I'm getting something out of it.
They're like, oh shit, you know, that's amazing. That's good. Nah, you know what? Give me your number. I might know. And then all of a sudden it helps on that front. Not that I'm trying to advertise, but it's difficult trying to constantly explain that to someone who has a bit of banter and be like, shut the fuck up. What do you mean? How are you helping people? You idiot. What's your podcast you do? What the fuck is that called? Spell it properly, you idiot.
Oh, you're going to get a lot of that soon in Kenya.
You're going to get abused.
We're probably going to have to go to the last question.
Yeah, I think it's last question time.
So someone asked, who should I speak to with the challenges I'm facing that just keep happening?
You should speak to yourself first. That's a good place to start. So the challenges that keep happening, I think the person that sent this to me was talking about it from a relationship perspective, without going into the details. Not feeling as fulfilled and happy within the relationship keeps coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a number of options here. You can, and it all comes back to how important it is to get through these challenges. If it's something you want to get through, if it's not important, you're not going to do anything about it. In the context of a relationship, answer the question first yourself. The challenges that are coming up, my partner's not fulfilling my needs, constantly arguing, we're not making enough time for each other, etc. So you've dialed it right now. Can you do something with this information, with the answers that you've got? If you feel like you can't and you feel like you're not in the wrong, maybe you don't even speak to someone. Now, I never will say go speak to your friends and family first, because I feel if it's really that important to you, go get some professional assistance. The same way where if your lights went off or you had an electrical problem, you could try and do it yourself, but you probably elongate the problem. Go get an electrician in. Something goes wrong with the water, go get a plumber in. That's what these people are here. That's what they do. That's their job. You could try and build a house yourself, but a builder's probably going to know how to do it a lot better and a lot more safer. So if there is a problem going on right now, yes, you could speak to your friends and family about it, but I would 100% advise, go get on the phone or go reach out to someone right now who isn't going to judge you, a stranger, and see if they can hold some time and space for you. So whether that's a dating coach, a relationship coach, or whatever it is, it's like from a fitness space. If you know the challenges, you're not able to lose weight, go speak to an online coach, go speak to a PT and see what they say. Get that initial conversation in place, and if they sign you up to a program or offer you, consider it, how important is it to you? What's a couple of grand if you're able to fix your marriage? What's a couple of grand if you're able to lose the weight that's bothering you? Like, think about it. It might not be a couple of grand, it might be a couple of £100. How important is it to you? How important is it for you to have hot water in your house right now? The same problem, yeah, it keeps going. Yeah, get a plumber in. Have a look. Is it your boiler that needs changing?
Yeah, I get it. And also, obviously, people's instinct is to go to their friends. Well, everyone who's close and easily accessible.
Of course.
But I do think there's a good and a bad to it. The good is you may not have to explain too much because they already know you.
Exactly.
Right? And they probably know parts of the situation, or they know the other half, or whoever else is involved. The other thing is you might be in an echo chamber and hearing the same things that they appease you because they know you and they know how you work, but it's not mutually beneficial. You're not growing because of it.
And that's great. You might have friends who can hold space in that echo chamber. But if it's not space you're looking for, because this is a challenge that keeps happening and you want change. If you're not going to make that change yourself from what you're hearing and the answers you're giving yourself, go get someone who's going to help facilitate that change. Go get a coach. If they're expensive, go find someone cheaper. Or if you can't do coaching, go try group coaching as an alternative. Go be in a community of people who are throwing different ideas and you're like, hold me accountable to this. And push you to do something. But then it gets looked badly because it's like, why should I invest this much money into it? Well, how important is it to you? If it's your relationship and you really want to be with this person, you've got kids, you want to make it work, fucking go get someone that's going to help you. I had, a couple of years ago, someone said to me, I could go on the, I know, it's fun. I could go on the NHS, for instance, and get some support. I'm like, yeah, you could. How important is it for you right now to get this injury looked at? Fucking important. I'm like, all right, fine. So if you want to wait a couple of months, wait. But how important is it for you right now to possibly be in a better position? Do you need to get some physio? Go find a physio. Go explain your problems. Try and accelerate as much as you can for the NHS. And if you can't, go get some private help. Because you could wait and wait and wait.
It's true. It's what you prioritize it as, really.
If
you have the means for it.
If you're in pain, of course you're going to try and seek that attention as soon as you can. But if you, let's say, got tooth pain and trying to get something through the NHS, seeing a dentist is going to be another 3-4 weeks. Best believe there are some private people about who might be able to get you that appointment in very early and soon. It might cost a bit more, but what does that work out for you if you're pain free? So you've got to look at it from all of those different angles, I think. And it's a case of you wouldn't try and not obtain help and assistance if it wasn't that much of a big deal. If it's a big deal and it bothers you, regardless of whatever it is, relationships, physical pain, mental pain, whether it's something generic, housework, what, you would get assistance. Go get assistance. I, in the gym, as an example, have tried to lose weight consistently since I've left my last coach. I've gone through phases where I've tried to cut and be in good shape. Respectfully, has it worked out the way I want it to? No. I've got someone right now holding me accountable, which is fantastic. But respectfully, I know when I had that person in place, I was possibly listening a lot more than listening to myself and saying, fuck that, I'm going to eat this today. Makes a big difference. So you get that accountability in, you see what happens after. So I would recommend coaching. I'd also recommend possibly therapy if that's what you need. But again, all depends on the problem. But it's been good, man.
That's it.
Have you enjoyed asking questions?
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah?
Cheers, comfortable.
Yeah, cheers.
Can't ask for too much, can I?
Can't. No.
Nah, I enjoyed it.
Good. If you lot have enjoyed this, I'm not sure how I'm going to edit it with either this camera or that camera. But if you lot have enjoyed this, let me know. And if you like more stuff like this and you want to see Mr. Anonymous or have him ask more questions, we could make it a little permanent gig. Psych.
I'm unemployed. So can I shoot my CV now? Or
But no, it's been fun, man. Thank you for doing this.
No problem. It's a pleasure to be here.
Love.